Is Moses Atama ducking? Atama has rejected an IBF final eliminator fight against Frank Sanchez that would have led to a world title challenge against Alexander Usyk. Technically, yeah, he is ducking Frank Sanchez and Alexander Usyk. But when you really look at it, it does make sense. He's 20 years old and probably the biggest heavyweight prospect of the past decade. Definitely the biggest prospect in the UK for a while now. I've been saying that he's very talented and he has everything he needs to be a successful Hall of Fame fighter. However, being 20 years old, he's way too green to be getting title shots and even fighting title eliminators right now against a guy like Frank Sanchez. When he destroyed an old Dillian Whyte a few months ago, sure, he looked pretty good. But guys like Turkey were calling for him to fight Usyk for the undisputed belts. Listen, if you want to see his career get derailed and destroyed that early, it could be permanently, sure, feed him to Alexander Usyk, a 20-year-old who's very green. Sure, do that, right? I've been saying that Moses, he needs to fight one more legit contender to show that he deserves title shots. People need to deserve title shots. Just because you're a big name, just because you show a lot of potential doesn't mean you automatically deserve the title shot. You should be deserving the title shot by beating the guys in front of you in line. You don't get to just jump the line because you have a big name, you're a big investment, you have big promotion companies, and I know boxing is business, and I know how I want to see it. It's not how it works, but that's how it should be. Moses should be fighting a top 5 guy before he fights Usyk. He should have been fighting Frank Sanchez, but it makes sense to keep feeding him guys who are going to make him look good so that he could get the easiest heavyweight title shot possible. Okay, he wants the easiest road possible to get a title shot, and it makes sense to try and build him up because he is an investment. He's an investment for the UK, his team, his promotional company for Turkey. Moses Atama is an investment. Feeding him against Frank Sanchez, feeding him to guys like Hrgovic or Caballel, people I mentioned in the past, I don't think we're going to see that. It makes sense. If he really wants a title shot, he should be fighting those guys. He should have been fighting Wardley. Joseph Parker should not have been fighting Wardley. Someone like Moses should have been fighting Wardley. Joseph Parker should be fighting Usyk next for the titles. No questions asked. All right, Moses should be fighting these top 5 guys. But I doubt he will. He's probably going to fight somebody old like Jarrell Miller or Andy Ruiz, somebody over the hill but still a big name to make it seem like it's a big win. But they're not going to feed him to these young, hungry guys like Caballel, Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez yet. Because it's a risky fight. At 20 years old, those are really hard fights. That could actually be Moses. And if that happens, well, that title shot just gets pushed back a lot farther now. They want the easiest road to a title shot possible. All right, it's as simple as that. And I'm not blaming them. They're building up. He's 20 years old. They're really trying to go off this because realistically, Moses could have a solid 15 to even 20 years of a dominant title reign at heavyweight. And I see that. I can see that with the talent. It's legitimate. It's a legit possibility. Feeding him against these young, dangerous, hungry guys like the guys I mentioned, it could derail all of that. So is he ducking Frank Sanchez and Usyk? Yeah. Does it make sense business-wise? Absolutely to do that. Who do I want to see Moses fight? Like I said again, I want to see him fight a top 5 guy. I don't think he will. He's probably going to fight an older guy with a popular name over the hill. Andy Ruiz is definitely a name that's been in talks past few weeks. That'd be a good fight. I think that'd be a really good challenge. I think Moses could beat Andy Ruiz. And then potentially we see Moses get a title shot. I don't think he deserves it, but it's going to be happening in the next year or two anyway. We just got to accept it, whether he deserves it or not. It's going to be happening. But try to make him work as hard as possible, okay, business-wise, so it can seem like he really deserves it. Listen, he's going to be champ one day, whether he deserves it or not. I said that, but I think he will deserve it. I think he's good enough, hardworking enough, is talented enough to become champion on his own without building him up. He's just trying to make it as soon as possible, okay? He might not be the youngest champion like they originally wanted, but he could be one of the youngest heavyweight champions, and he potentially could have the longest title reign. He has 15, 20 years of solid boxing he has in front of him. We could say up to 40 years old. We see it now. Usyk's pushing 40. I mean, look at what he's doing. Undisputed heavyweight champion. All right, Vladimir Klitschko was in his 40s. A lot of old guys could be heavyweight champion. George Foreman, 45 years old. I'm not saying Itauma could be on that level, but I'm sure that's why the promotional companies are seeing him as. They're trying to hope that he could be that guy. It makes sense. You have somebody so talented, you got to take care of him. All right? It makes sense. But that is what is happening in this situation. They don't want to feed Moses to some young, hungry guy, whether it's Usyk or some young guy trying to get a title shot like Frank Sanchez, who will fight anybody. He even declared he will fight anybody for a title shot. That's a hungry guy you do not want your prospect getting in the ring with. All right, Frank Sanchez will try to take Moses' head off. Could Moses beat him? Absolutely, but it's a risky, dangerous fight. A lot to gain, of course. You beat a young guy like Frank Sanchez, you could prove that you deserve a title shot, but a lot to lose. You lose that fight at that age, that young, no title shots in the past. the title shot opportunity is going to take even longer now. So it makes sense business-wise for Itauma and his team to do what he did. But for who's fighting Usyk next, no questions asked, it should be Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker deserves to be Alexander Usyk's next fight. No questions asked. Like I said, he deserves it. He should have been fighting Usyk last year. For the past year, Joseph Parker deserved Alexander Usyk. I'm not saying Joseph Parker could win, but of all the other guys, it's Joseph Parker who deserves it the most. He's the guy that's been winning. He's the guy that's beaten the biggest names besides AJ and Fury. Get rid of those three guys. Joseph Parker has done enough to deserve that title shot. AJ already had his chance. Dubois already had his chance. Fury already had his chance. Joseph Parker is the guy who deserves it next. He should be fighting Usyk, no questions asked. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this Itauma saying no to Frank Sanchez stuff. Make sure to comment. Make sure to leave a like. Subscribe. I'm out, guys. Peace.